Them were NCAA qualifiers this year. Keith qualified for Harvard, while Zanetta ranked most of the year for Randy Stottlemyre in the University of Pittsburgh Panthers. Early going. Keith will be in the red on the right side of your screen, while Zanetta now in the blue, circling towards the right now.
See you later.
55 kilos, this 121.25 pounds. Now Zanetta in on the leg. Keith trying to come around, cross the nice reversal of direction and gets the 1-point takedown, does Keith. Now works to the high gut, to the right side. Driving, Zanetta crawling forward. Now a high gut for 2 on the exposure for Steve Keith. Very accomplished in freestyle as a youth and at the age group levels. So quickly, 45 seconds in and a 3-0 lead for Steve Keith. Representing the Gold Medal Wrestling Club in Harvard, Muzaffar Abdurrahmanov and Pat Owen in the corner for Keith. So back to action here in period number 1. FILA Juniors goes from those athletes turning 18 to those athletes turning 20. Nice knee pick attempt by Zanetta. Gets 1 point for exposure, note 2, 1 confirmed. Actually, Keith now working with Zanetta working with the front headlock, trying to step around Keith. We'll go back to our feet. 44 to go. Period number 1. Keith beat Ryak Finch of Arizona in the semifinals, 6-3, 4-2, while Zanetta, now Keith actually in on that low ankle. Zanetta trying to crotch lift through, steps around. Keith doubling off, trying to prevent any lift from Zanetta. Zanetta with those long arms still trying to elevate. Keith still trying to cut the corner. Nice belly tilt for Keith, actually against Keith. Zanetta's going to take 2 points and tie it up at 3-3. Now Keith going to try to step over, comes around. Does he have one? White paddled. And it is 1 awarded now with 4 seconds to go, and that point is going to give Keith the period 2-1. So Steve Keith of Harvard in this, the FILA Junior Freestyle National Championships from the Wallstein Center in Cleveland, Ohio, on the campus of Cleveland State University. Steve Keith going to take the first period, 4-3. As we alluded to earlier, to get here, Anthony Zanetta beat Brennan Lyon of the Michigan Wrestling Club 104-0. Keith's had a couple solid wins. He beat Ty Mitch right off the bat and then had to beat Robert Dyer of Columbia just to get to Justin Brooks and then Ryak Finch. So 3 of his 4 matches have been really tough and notable opponents. Robert Dyer, for example, you may not know his name. He wrestled at Columbia, kind of an undersized 125-pounder, but is a multiple place winner in Fargo and freestyle. And, of course, we're wrestling here in freestyle, so it makes sense to look at Fargo results, especially when you're at a FILA junior age group. Zanetta beat Val Rouser. Now in on the leg is Keith. Crotch lift attempt. Again, Keith with his head up. Zanetta trying to post the left foot to the mat and lift. No, we'll go back to our feet. 40 seconds into the second period. Steve Keith in the red. And we're going to be joined here by the Abitola of wrestling, Mr. Gary Abbott, our Director of Communications and Special Projects. Been a busy weekend on all levels. Now Steve Keith taking a 1-0 lead. And Gary, something we have alluded to, at least during this match, is, you know, these are both college freshmen, but their age group level work is pretty accomplished. And like Keith, he's had to go through Ty Mitch, Ryak Finch,
oh man,
and
Keith's had
Robert Dyer to get here.
Heck of a tournament so far. I watched the Mitch match. That was the finals.
Mitch match.
Yeah, the
was
Mitch
not a mismatch. It was actually a pretty good one.
No, that was the finals of FILA cadets 2 years ago. So these, he's kids that have been in finals of the nationals meeting in the first or second round here. That's how tough it is. And this Keith, he's up at Harvard and had a tremendous career as a Long Island kid, which is where I grew up, so I kind of pay attention to these kids. But, both of these athletes have a great future in college and beyond if they stay in the freestyle.
Now, kind of a cheap tilt attempt and a kind of a made-up move. I guess I don't know how to describe it for Zanetta. He just kind of take the leg and shucked it through and got 2 points on the exposure. So now Keith was up 1-0. Now he's down 2-1 and needs a move. And Zanetta going to try to do something here on the edge to fight off the attack. Comes around, gets 1 point. 3-1 period win for Zanetta. So we'll go to a third.
Now, Keith's from Shoreham-Wading River, right?
That would be the same high school as Jesse and Corey Jansen.
Yep, and they've done a pretty good job.
And he's at Harvard, so imagine that. Imagine the connection there.
Yeah, but you know where that connection started. The first Harvard wrestler from Shoreham-Wading River was a guy named Andy McNerney, who was my age. He wrestled in the early 80s. And he went to Harvard and became one of their All-Americans in a time when they didn't have very many. And then pretty much set up the Shoreham-Wading River connection because it got followed by the Jansens and now Keith. Obviously the kids have to be pretty good academically to go there, but so there's a tradition of kids from that one high school wrestling for the Harvard Crimson and winning.
Head coach was Jay Weiss. We don't see Weiss here, but we've got two good ones in the corner, Pat Owen and Muzaffar Abdurakhmanov.
Yeah, Moose has been up there for a little while, and obviously that gives some great experience and talent into that coaching staff, which is already pretty strong.
Again, as we mentioned at the start of the match, both of these wrestlers NCAA qualifiers this year at the Division I level, both freshmen.
Hope you don't mind me cutting in and out, but I'm going to be conducting interviews after each victory, so if you don't mind a part-time sidekick here, I'll be glad to help.
The pay's less than minimum wage, so if you're willing to do part-time work for less than part-time pay, I can definitely do that. And Zanetta coming around, going to get 1 point on the takedown with 1 minute to go in the third period.
He's pretty solid. He doesn't get out of position much.
Had some very solid collegiate wins now with a trapped arm gut wrench, and he's going to give it up, and Keith bails out of, Zanetta bails out of it, and Keith counters with a 2 point exposure, so it looked like he was about to go up 3-0, and then actually finds himself down 2-1 with 40 to go, third period.
Now, this is a tremendous battle, and just indicative of the kind of quality athletes we have here competing this week. I've seen some high school kids doing a good job beating some college kids. That's what I love about this event, is that you get to see people like Taylor Massa, beating people that are in college already,
Kind of humbling, though, if you're a college kid getting beat by a high school junior.
Yeah, but you know what? These guys know that they might see each other in a year or two. I mean, they're here to try to make a national title, but also get in position to make a junior world team. So everyone here that's going to be a factor really came here with high expectations, and they know they're going to wrestle tough guys.
Keith in on the leg, doubling off, has the takedown, so now up 3-1 with 5 seconds to go. Zanetta going to try to get a tilt late, and that's going to do it. So your FILA Junior National Champion in freestyle from the Gold Medal Wrestling Club and Harvard University is Stephen Keith. Now we're going to be joined by another member of the USA Wrestling Communications Department. This is